There's a lot in this world that can make you stupid. Sniffing glue. Most reality shows. Getting kicked by a horse. In the head. Why not try something that might make you a little smarter? It's time for another damn trivia show. Why don't you listen? I think you'll be glad you did. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the very first, the premiere, the inaugural, the kickoff, the thesaurus-enriched episode of another damn trivia show. I'm your host, Matt Brundage, and I thought I'd kick off this episode by letting you know what I was thinking as far as the show is concerned, how I want it to go, why I'm doing it, things like that. The why I'm doing it is pretty simple. I love trivia. Always have. I love answering it, I like playing trivia games, I like creating trivia questions, and now I figured, why not create a trivia podcast? Am I being horrifically original? No. Even a little bit original, maybe? Not really so much. There's a ton of trivia podcasts out there, trivia TV shows, radio shows, everything. But that's fine. Totally room under this trivia umbrella for all of us to stay warm and dry. In fact, I'll even tell you some of the ones I love listening to. Pod Quiz, NPR's Ask Me Another. Those are two great shows I highly recommend you check out on Stitcher, iTunes, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. Both shows, fantastic, and I highly recommend them. My show, again, nothing horribly original except hopefully it'll be fun. That's really all we want, right? Fun times had by all. So, the structure, I ask questions, you answer them. You can answer them in your own head. You can answer them out loud as long as you're not, say, on the subway. Or you can answer on the subway. You may look crazy, but whatever. If you have friends over, race to the answer. I'm hoping to have friends call in from episode to episode. And you will have to try to get your answers out before they get theirs and spoil it for everybody. I have a feeling you'll be fine. Some of my friends, not quick. Some of them, though, geniuses. Should be a lot of fun. The way it's going to work is I've selected 5 categories for today. Each category has 5 questions in it for a grand total of 25 questions. You can keep your own personal score, and at the end, see what you got. If you want to work out the percentage, just multiply your answer by 4, but I'm sure you already knew that. Alright, enough talking. Let's get things started, shall we, with category number 1. And that today is animals 2 by 2. So, how does that work? Very simple. I ask the question. It could be on any topic. No real category here. Except all the answers will have 2 animals in them. Shall we get started? I don't see why not. Question number 1. The 24th Disney animated film came out in 1981 and featured 2 unlikely friends named Todd and Copper. What was the name of this film? Question number 2. This common term refers to a massive or torrential downpour. Remember, 2 animals in each answer you give, please, or it will be wrong. Question numero 3 for the bilinguals out there in the listening audience. This fable gives the moral lesson that a person can't change his or her nature. In the story, both characters drown. The drowning is rather important. Question number 4. What are the symbols for the 2 main parties in American politics? Should be easy for those of you who are American or who watch American television, which is pretty much everybody on the planet. And finally, the last question in Animals 2 by 2, this term refers to someone who comes off as innocent but is actually dangerous. Comes off as innocent, actually dangerous. And that's it for category number 1. Let's move right along to category number 2, and category number 2 is called fiscal tourism. The way that works is I will describe a country. In my description, you will get a feature of that country or a tourist attraction of that country, as well as the currency used in that country. You give me the question, and by that I mean, you give me the country. Yeesh. No one said I was perfect. Here we go. Fiscal tourism. Question 1. Where would I be if I was spending euros to get into the Louvre? Where would I be? Where would I be if I was spending euros to get into the Louvre? Question number 2. Where would I be if I was using the pound to buy fish and chips in Trafalgar Square? Question number 3. Where would I be if I lost my wallet full of real while visiting the statue Christ the Redeemer? Big statue. Really Christy and Redeemer-ish. Where would I be, though? Where in the world would I be? What country? Question 4. Where would I be if I made a donation at the Lotus Temple in rupees? Feeling generous? Tossing a few rupees into the Lotus Temple donation box there. What country am I in? What country am I in? Oi. Question number 5. The final question in fiscal tourism. Where would I be if I used the yuan to buy a postcard featuring the view from the Namsam Tower? Alright. Where would I be? That's it for fiscal tourism. Let's move right along now to category number 3. This category is called Renamed Kid Shows, and the way it works is very simple. I've selected a variety of kid shows, and I've taken the titles and I've reworded them so that they mean the same thing, but the words are all different. So synonyms are at work here. Simple enough? Hopefully, because if you don't understand the way the question works, this could be troublesome. But I have faith in you. Let's give it a shot, shall we? Question number 1 in Renamed Kid Shows. Kinda Strange Legal Guardians. Kinda Strange Legal Guardians. Remember, that's the title of an actual kids show. I've just switched the words and replaced them with various synonyms. Question number 2. Robert the Porous Invertebrate in Quadratic Trousers. Robert the Porous Invertebrate in Quadratic Trousers. That was a weird one. Sorry. Question number 3. The ruler's recent academic establishment. The ruler's recent academic establishment. Question 4. The road of edible seeds from a tall annual hibiscus plant. I can see why they wouldn't actually use that as a title, though. That's what surprises me. Why they didn't go with that as the title. The road of edible seeds from a tall annual hibiscus plant. Fantastic TV show. Kids love it. Final question in the round is: these small equines I possess. These small equines I possess. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of round 3. And we move rapidly into round number 4. Round number 4. And for round number 4, we are going with sports by the letter. See, even though it's trivia and kind of geeky, and I'm a huge geek, and it's cool, I'm okay with it, I've accepted it, I love it, geek is chic and all that good stuff, doesn't mean we can't get some athletics in there, get some sports, get some testosterone going, which is sexist of me, I apologize, get some energy going, I guess would be a better term for both male and females. How this game works, this particular category, is very simple. I am looking for the names of teams that have letters as their or in their logos. I give you the letters, and I also give you some hints as to what the team might be. the hints will start with the same letters as the letters in their logos. Sounds confusing, but trust me, you'll get it. No problem. I have complete and utter faith in you, you genius audience. Here we go. Sports by the letter. Question number 1. The C on their chest could stand for the crimson on their jerseys, and the H for the hockey which they play. Alright? So, the C on their chest could stand for the crimson on their jerseys, and the H for the hockey which they play. What team has a C and an H on their jerseys? Their jerseys are crimson, and they play hockey. See how that works? I practically gift wrapped that one for you. That was question 1. Question number 2. The N on their uniform could stand for 19, worn by Ramiro Pena, and the Y could represent Yogi Berra, who wore number 38 when he first played for them. What team? What team could I possibly be talking about? Remember, this could be any sport. This could be hockey, football, baseball, basketball, any major sport where the uniforms have letters on their jerseys. Question number 3. The G on their helmets could stand for the goal posts Mason Crosby tries to kick the ball between. Okay. Question number 4. The P in their logo could stand for the Potawatomi Zoo in South Bend, Indiana. I'd repeat that question, but I'm not sure I could get the name of the zoo right again without stuttering, stammering, and basically effing it up. Final question in the category sports by the letter. Question 5. The A in their logo might represent assists. Ryan O'Reilly got 37 of them in the 2011-2012 season. 37, that's a lot. And finally, we are going to wrap up this episode's series of questions with a category called High School Learning. Basically, the 5 questions are all going to deal with different subjects from high school. Alright, so you got your Englishes, your maths, your geographies, your dramas, your phys eds, your histories, your cooking, home ec, things like that. So a hodgepodge, if you will, of various categories, all blended into the one category of high school learning. Here we go. Question number 1 in high school learning. In music, when you're learning your scales, do, re, mi, what is the 6th note? So it would be the 6th little word there in your scales as you climb. Do, re, mi, blah, 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 blah. If you're a fan of music or the sound of music, you'll probably get this question correct. Question number 2. In geography, we learn it is the massive rock expanse that covers much of Canada. Canada being a fantastic country, the one that I am from. Proudly Canadian, right here. In geography, we learn it is the massive rock expanse that covers much of Canada. Question number 3. In history, we are told which 3 countries made up the Axis power in World War II. In history, we learn which 3 countries make up or made up the Axis powers in World War II. Question number 4. In drama, what do we call a frozen picture made by the actors? What do we call that frozen picture made by the actors? And finally, the last question in high school learning, and the last question in this week's episode of Another Damn Trivia Show. In science, it is the 13th element on the periodic table of elements and is symbolized with the letters A-L. Alright? How is that? relatively painless. And now you have 25 answers running through your head, and you're dying to know, how many did you get right? Did you get 25 out of 25? Did you get 24? 20 maybe? Who knows? Not I, because I'm, well, here. And you are, well, there. But soon you will know what you got. And this is how. I'm going to tell you the answers. Let's get started, shall we? So the category 1 was Animals 2x2. The first question was, the 24th Disney animated film came out in 1981, featured two unlikely friends named Todd and Copper, and that was the Fox and the Hound. Two animals, fox and the hound. Those are our two animals. Question 2 was the common term referring to a massive or torrential downpour, and that was, it's raining cats and dogs. This fable, P.S., this one was tricky, I think. I'll be surprised if all of you got this. We'll see how many of you got it. This fable gives a moral lesson about a person not changing their nature. Both characters drown. The fable is called The Frog and the Scorpion. If you don't know the fable, it's pretty good. Frog is sitting on the bank. Scorpion wants to get across the river or the lake, what have you. He says, hey yo, frog, let me jump on your back. Frog says, no dice, you're going to stab me and poison me and I'll die. He says, no, we're over the water. If I do that, we'll both drown. Frog says, solid point, hop on. Midway through the lake, feels a sting. Scorpion stung him. He said, whoa, dude, what are you doing? Now we're both going to drown. And the scorpion says, it's in my nature. Don't trust scorpions is what the answer is, the moral of that story. Sorry, question 4. The symbols for the two main parties in the American political system are the donkey and the elephant. Why they chose such fearsome, awe-inspiring creatures, I don't know. And finally, the term that refers to someone who comes off as innocent but is actually quite dangerous is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And there's our two animals. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay, moving on to the answers for fiscal tourism. If you said you'd be in France, where when you were spending your euros to get into the Louvre, you would be correct. The answer is France. Remember, I'm looking for the country, not the city. Paris, France. It's fine if you said it, but France is the answer. Where would you be if you were buying fish and chips with the pound in Trafalgar Square? That would be England. What country would you be in if you're looking at Christ the Redeemer and tossing out real everywhere? You are in Brazil. Where would you be if you made a donation to the Lotus Temple in rupees? Why, that would be India, my good sir and madam. India. And finally, where would you find the Namsan Tower and spend all that won? Why, that would be South Korea. South Korea is the answer to that question. Now we're moving on to renamed kids shows, and the first one was Kinda Strange Legal Guardians, or Fairly Odd Parents. Fairly Odd Parents is the answer to that question. Number 2 was Robert the Porous Invertebrate in Quadratic Trousers, and that, of course, is SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't know why I said it that way. SpongeBob SquarePants. A show of which I have never seen a single full episode of, but I've heard is amazing, and I should check it out, even though I'm quite old and don't have kids. The ruler's recent academic establishment could also be called The Emperor's New School, a Disney show based off of The Emperor's New Groove, which was one of the first movies to not have a full singing soundtrack in Disney, as far as the animated movies go. And the show was pretty good. Don't know if it's still around anymore, but regardless, the answer was still The Emperor's New School. The next question was the road of edible seeds from a tall annual hibiscus plant, and that, of course, is Sesame Street. PBS, great for cranking out those educational kids programming. I know I learned to count. I know I learned about my colors. I learned a little Spanish. I learned that paperclip collecting is a fun hobby. Ernie and Bert are not gay, but it would be fine if they were. and I want to go have a soda at Mr. Hooper's shop. It's just me. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, strolling down memory lane. I'm back. We're all good. Finally, the small equines I possess would also be called My Little Ponies. So all the bronies out there, I know got that one. If you're not a brony, well, hopefully you got it anyway. If you don't know what a brony is, look it up. Fascinating stuff. Huge props. Tara Strong. There you go. If I've got bronies in the audience, I just earned huge points right there. We had sports by the letter. Let's move on here. Alright, so the C on their chest and the H on their chest, crimson uniforms, hockey played. That is, of course, the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal Canadiens, in case, for some reason, my weird pronunciation of Canadiens was off. The N on their uniform and the Y on their uniform, I didn't even need to say the names of the people and Yogi Berra and all that stuff. I'm sure you knew it was the New York Yankees. I know you knew it. It's all good. But if you didn't, that's what it was, the New York Yankees. The G on their helmet could stand for the goal post that Mason Crosby tries to kick the ball between. That is the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers. The P in their logo could stand for the Potawatomi Zoo in South Bend, Indiana. That would be the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers, very existing basketball team. I was going to say a really good basketball team, but since I hardly hear anything about them, I'm guessing they're not that strong. Maybe they will be soon, I don't know. But Indiana Pacers, nonetheless, a big P as part of their logo. And finally, the A in the logo might represent assists. Ryan O'Reilly got 37 of them. 37, that's a lot, in the 2011-12 season, and that would be the Avalanche, the Colorado Avalanche. And finally, we wrapped up with high school learning, and we started with in music, when you're learning your scales, do, re, mi, blah, 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 blah. What is the sixth? Wow, I'm really bad at singing. I apologize, everyone. What is the sixth note? And the answer is la, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I actually was just counting it on my hands because I suddenly panicked and thought that was the seventh note. Nope, it was the sixth. La. La is the answer. In geography, we learned the massive rock expanse which covers much of Canada. It is the Canadian Shield. I have no clever joke to make with that. That's the answer, Canadian Shield. In history, which three countries make up the Axis power, or made up the Axis power in World War II? That would be Germany, Japan, and Italy. Germany, Japan, and Italy made up the Axis power in World War II. In drama, what do we call the frozen picture made by actors? And that is a tableau. A tableau is the frozen picture that actors make with their bodies. And finally, in science, it's the 13th element of the periodic table and symbolized by Al. Theoretically very simple because of the Al, but of course, as we all know, not every single element in the periodic table is represented by a letter that is the starting of the name of the element. But in this case, it was, and it is aluminum, or aluminium, if you're not American. Though I don't know any Canadians who say aluminium. We say aluminum. Maybe in Britain. Anyone who listens to the show who's from England or Britain, or well, England is in Britain, I apologize, but from someplace outside of North America, how do you pronounce it? Aluminum or aluminium? I'm curious. I'm also curious to know, what did you get? What was your score? What out of 25? If you would like to share that with me, you can tweet me. My Twitter handle is OOH_Brundage. BRUNDAGE. O Brundage. Feel free to tweet me with suggestions for categories. Tweet me with what you got on this week's quiz. Tweet me with recipes. I like eating. I'm a big dude. What can I say? Anyway, that about does it for me. I'm going to wrap things up now. This has been episode number 1 of Another Damn Trivia Show. Hopefully you will tune back in the next time when episode 2 is aired, and we'll have a lot more trivia fun. So, to leave you, I give you this piece of wise sage advice. There are no stupid questions. There are, however, stupid answers, but 9 times out of 10, those are funnier. Have a great day. Have a great week. Stay smart.